Chairman, I've reviewed the minutes from October, found them all to be in order, and move for their approval as mailed.
Have a motion to accept? Second over here. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? They are approved. Recognize our Vice Chairman.
One more thing, Chairman, thank you. For those who pray, Lisa Crowell, we all know Lisa, she has some, not her personally, but there again personally in the family, some medical issues that are tough for her to deal with. Pray for her and her family. And if you don't pray, find me or somebody that knows and we'll teach you how to pray. We all should pray for the Kroll family, the Duke family. It wasn't good 2 weeks ago. It's better today. But just keep her in your, I don't want to say thoughts and prayers, keep her in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will keep this family in our prayers and remember them. All right, public comments. Do we have any? No public comments this evening. Moving on then into our necessary items of discussion. Moving to item 3, probation report. Elisa Phillips. Good evening.
For the month of October, we closed out 156 cases for 139 people. We serviced 66 individuals in our programs. 18 individuals successfully completed their program, and 3 individuals were discharged unsuccessfully. In regards to our Olive Branch program, we were able to help out 13 individuals, 5 of which were experiencing homelessness and 8 others who had fallen on a hardship. We do want to say a big thank you to anyone and everyone that contributed to our October food drive to restock our pantry. That's very much appreciated. In our 10 Rocks program, we currently have 26 participants. We have 3 individuals that are pending after their assessment to enter the program. With our expenditures and our revenue for the month of October, it gave us a difference of $105,998.51. For the month of October, we turned over $11,816 in probation fees to the clerks to be collected on payment agreements. In the month of October, $4,937 was turned over to the clerk's office to collect, but those individuals have not entered a payment agreement. So far this fiscal year, we've turned over $64,392 in probation fees to the clerk to be collected on payment agreements. And so far this fiscal year, we've turned over $20,937.95 to the clerk's office to be collected on a payment agreement, but those individuals have not entered a payment agreement as of yet. And we do have 10 individuals that have been deemed indigent by the court. The second part of my report would be a photograph that I have from our first 10 Rocks graduation with Judge Bennett. We have 4 individuals here, Ambrose, Jennifer, William, and Teresa, who worked very hard in our program. They were the first group of participants that applied for our program, so in lieu of them serving their sentence out, they worked really hard towards their recovery, and we wanted to celebrate that. I wanted to show. And also, the young lady in the blue next to Judge Bennett is our 10 Rocks case manager, Miss Lisa Cannon. She dives in and just gives her heart and soul to every individual on that caseload. So I'm very appreciative of everything she does for that program. So I wanted to share that with you guys tonight, and that would be my report.
All right, thank you. Any questions, comments?
Question. What is the max that you could take in 10 Rocks?
As of now, we're capping it at 35, and then just reevaluate it after that. That's where we've set our number at so far.
Move to accept.
Have the motion to approve, Commissioner Oliver, second by Commissioner Beverly? Other comments or questions? All those in favor of the report, say aye. Those opposed? Your report has been approved. Thank you. Correction Work Center report. Superintendent Cope. Good evening, sir.
First in your packet is our minutes for our Work Center County Corrections Partnership Committee meeting from November 6th. Next is statistics from the work release program, which is still going great. Our yearly activity report. Next in your packet would be the amount of trash collected on county and state routes. County roads, county trash collected 15,927 pounds, and then on the state routes, 830 bags. Monthly worker report. You'll see the reflection of the total combined savings of $77,916 using inmate labor. And then our CQI stats, which are our medical stats, on the next page. That is my report, and Chairman, I do have a budget amendment after that.
Okay, well, any questions on the report or comments?
Move to approve the report.
Motion to approve. Second. Have any comments?
Quick question. Superintendent, on the second page of your notes from your meeting, I was kind of just concerned, or not concerned, just had a question. When you talked about the GPS monitoring, the difference in the fee and taking away from daily allowances, can you kind of share a little bit about that, please?
Which part of it?
The suggestion of increasing the GPS monitoring and decreasing housing rates. I was just curious, what is that specifically referring to?
Each offender who is on work release is on a GPS monitoring system, and they pay for that out of the money that they make on work release. And come January 1st, we're going to have to put everyone that goes outside the facility and off the grounds on GPS monitoring. And we've talked about finding ways to be able to supplement paying for those out of our funds for the GPS in general, which would be coming from those people. And if we increase that and decrease their housing cost, which is a made-up cost, to be honest with you, then we'll be able to do that for those certain numbers that will be going out with other people besides our staff.
It's because of the increase in those that are going out. That's basically what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Not. All those in favor of approving the report, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It is approved. I believe you do have a budget amendment.
Yes, sir. We recently, over the past several months, we had one of our vans rear-ended, and that was at a total loss. And the money that we received for that total loss is going to come nowhere close to paying for a new van. So with the advisement of our board and Michael Smith and the mayor, what we're looking at doing is moving that $32,751 that we got back for that particular van and moving that into building maintenance, repair, and into lease payments. So what we want to do is to pay for a new coil in our heat and air unit, which is in our food service area, and look at possibly paying off a couple of those lease cars that we have.
Not going to replace the van?
We are not going to right now. It really does, Chairman, come down to priority, and our heating and air unit really is going to take the priority to one of those vans right now. We're not going to lose any work by that van not being out there. We're still going to be doing the same amount of work.
Other questions on the request? Commissioner James?
By not going to replace it right now, when are you looking at needing to replace it by? Are we going to get this added to the budget in spring?
Hopefully not, but like I said, right now it's going to come down to care, custody, and control is my priority, not a van. So if we replace it, we replace it. If we don't, we don't. But right now, heating and air coil is going to take priority.
Anyone else? A motion to approve. Have a second. Commissioner Oliver. Further discussion? Not. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Y'all.
Thank you, sir. Juvenile detention? Luke, good evening.
Evening. Before you, you have our reports from the month of October. You don't have a report.
Oh, the report's not there. Yeah. Commissioners, your wishes? Go ahead and give an oral report.
Okay, so I will obviously add this information to next month. I included our board meeting minutes from October the 9th. We didn't have any public comments. There wasn't really anything terribly important that we talked about. We moved through the volunteer behavioral health agreement that y'all had already seen. We talked about future meeting dates. For the month of October, our population went up just slightly. We had an average of 15. We have currently billed $170,800. We are owed $16,975 from 5 counties. We did receive one of those checks this morning. I think that the reason that the money owed has not come through yet was because of the holiday. I'm concerned about that at all. We had approximately 30 young people that came through that were released on charges ranging from aggravated assault down to consumption of alcohol on the runaway. We did work with the FBI on a runaway that was on the national runaway website. We did detain several people from Murfreesboro Police Department and the Sheriff's Department, as well as 6 of the counties that we contract with. Our STD report stats were very good. We tested a total of 11 young people. None of them were positive for chlamydia or gonorrhea, so that was very good news for us. And we have our usual facility programming information as far as what our chaplain and our education department goes over with the kids on a regular basis. Ranging from school to our special programs and other items like creative writing, cultural diversity, manhood restored, etc. And then I did include the audit report from our third total PREA inspection that we had. It's a 4-page report. We passed, there was 43 standards that were required to be met. We passed all 43 of those standards, and we are good on our Prison Rape Elimination Act situation for the next 3 years. And that is my report.
Commissioners, any questions?
I apologize for that, not making the,
That's okay. We got a fairly detailed report from what you've given there.
The last portion I didn't hear. You said that accreditation was approved. Did you say for how many years?
PREA audits happen every 3 years. And it's something relatively new that they've been doing with juvenile facilities, so we've had a total 3 of them now. We've passed all 3. So the next time that we'll have to do another PREA audit will be 2026.
And you said you'll have that information in your report for next month?
I think it would just be wise and prudent for me to send this month's information next month, and I'll try to break it up into 2 different folders.
Thank you.
Mr. Rather.
So when you get the information, is it going to be on SharePoint? So between now and next month, we can all review it, study it, and have our questions ready?
Yes, the OIT worked with my computer today and had it remedied by early this afternoon. So I can actually send this up and ask that they post it tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner James.
I'm wondering, can we send this on to the full chamber without directly approving it yet? I'd like to see the minutes since I didn't pertain the meeting. Before I approved minutes, I didn't sit in, and I haven't seen that yet.
We can approve her oral report that she's given this evening and go on. But then you'll also receive these copies then. The next meeting, then you'll
Yeah,
have the
that's what
opportunity to do so.
That's what I'm just wanting to ensure on, just
Yeah.
to make sure I had that right in my mind on that.
You can approve her efforts that were given here tonight.
To approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Sereno. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
Thank you.
I have one quick question, Ms. Duke, if that's okay. You said there was an increase of 15, maybe, juveniles, is that correct?
It was an increase for a total of 15. I believe the previous month there had been 13 out for an average,
So
not a total increase.
So it's just normal?
Yes, just slightly elevated.
Good. And how are you coming with hiring process? Are you staffed?
No, we almost were, and then we had somebody that did not pass through their complete background check. We had another new hire that was looking great, doing everything well, and then just didn't show up after 2 or 3 days of work. So just when we get to the point of being fully staffed, something happens.
Keep the faith.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Emergency Service, Public Safety Report. Director Chris Clark. Good evening, sir.
Chairman, committee. Hopefully in front of you will be our monthly report from October 19th to November 17th. A couple items that I'd like to point out is that we've had some of our incident management team personnel participate in an exercise that we put on there at our office and did an outstanding job. We also, last time I spoke with you guys, that we were going to conduct a Fight the Flu for the state health. It was successful, but a very, very low turnout. We're late in the season for flus. However, we were able to exercise the traffic flow, locations, equipment, technology, things like that. So we had great support from our public health. They do a great job. And please remember, 2 years ago, they were standing out in the cold, providing shots at State Farm. And I like to salute those people. They do a great job. Several tabletop exercise meetings and things like that, from anywhere from General Mills to our local hospitals. And then also, again, we responded to the Laverne shooting of 2 police officers. Keep those guys and lady in your prayers, and all the officers that participated in that response. Overwhelming response to that incident. Also, an explosive device located in Murfreesboro that we went to. Embedded in this report is our radio system and day-by-day type events. Nothing major to report on at this time. And that's my report.
Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to see the report as well as hear his oral presentation. Any questions or comments?
I have a question. It may not be related, but you mentioned the explosive device that was over at First Watch. Was that individual charged with anything? Because
I don't believe so.
I'm just wondering, because I feel like that ruined a lot of businesses' money during lunchtime and things like that. So that's just my thoughts.
Yeah. No, I don't believe he was charged. Today's world, we treat everything until proven not true.
Other questions? Motion made to accept. Do we have a second? Have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion has been approved. I believe you have several other little items here. I believe you got a donation of property.
Yes, sir. With approval, we would like to donate a 2008 GMC ambulance, which came from the EMS, over to emergency management, and now we would like to donate this ambulance to Box 100 Incorporated to provide rehab service for our personnel on large events. Keep in mind, during the Laverne police officer shooting, we had 3 rehab units there to take care of a large number of police officers, emergency officials. Las Casas Fire Department was there. A box unit out of Nashville, I think it's 55. And then also Box 100. All of them provided this rehab service. We'd like to donate this vehicle, used vehicle, to Box 100.
Commissioners?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Commissioner Oliver, second by, okay, Commissioner Beverly, second that. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, what's the valuation of this that we would have? Are we going to need to replace one soon? And do we have enough to be able to donate
So
it?
this came to us. It was a surplus that came and was signed over from EMS to emergency management. This is something that came out of their fleet and has been sitting there at our office. We just took ownership of it so state EMS wouldn't have to fool with it. And then we're passing along as a donation.
Anyone else? I don't know. I hope all of you know a lot about Box 100. By the way, let me just say this before we vote on this. If any of you are looking for an end of the year that you want to make a donation to help your income tax, Box 100, we're probably glad to take some of that, because it's a great organization that helps our first responders and what they do out there. They're a great organization. And I happened to sit in on one of their presentations not too long ago and to see some of this. But any other questions? Madam Chairman, please. I called you chairman tonight.
I know.
Stepping up.
Got to upgrade.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Sereno,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right.
Next is a surplus vehicle. We would like to provide to Gov Deals of a 2006 Ford Expedition XLT. Again, hand-me-down from EMS that we utilized for a little while, and now it is sitting in our back lot, purging. So it runs, drives, but it's really, it's had its days. It's done. So permission to surplus this piece of property.
Discussion.
Question. Help me understand when you say surplus.
So we will place this on a website that is called Gov Deals, and then people would, basically kind of an auction, and we would receive money for that used vehicle. And multiple departments do this throughout the year.
And that money goes into one of your accounts? Is that how that works?
I don't want to speculate, but I think it goes to end fund. It goes to general fund.
Got you.
Goes back that way, and it's what we do with surplus vehicles and things of that type. It's our eBay in a way of how we get rid of these vehicles and things. I'm just trying to make it simple where you understand what we have to do with some of these things. Other questions?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Rather. Have a second, Commissioner Oliver. Call the roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next is a state contract with Rutherford County concerning what's called TACN, Tennessee Advanced Communication Network. We utilize this radio system as a backup and an interoperability to our current radio system. This will extend the contract from November 17th, 2023 to December the 31st, 2028.
Commissioners?
Move to approve.
Motion approved, Commissioner Rather.
Second.
Have a second, Commissioner Sereno. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Got a budget amendment, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Last but not least, hopefully. This amendment is being requested to recognize the fiscal year 20 and 21 Homeland Security grants. It's basically revenue that's coming in and being placed in appropriate line items.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve, second, Commissioner McMurray. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, sir. Item 7, Emergency Medical Services. Brian Gaither, Director. Evening, sir.
For the month of October, we had a total of 3,355 911 calls, response time of 6 minutes and 56 seconds, 163 DOAs for the month, and 22 autopsies for the month. I just noticed, I don't know how long this number's been on this, but we put 1,960 each, and that has not been correct in quite some time. This kind of came to the forefront because we received a letter the last couple of weeks. They're increasing those fees yet again, right in the middle of a budget year. And so currently those fees are $2,300 per autopsy. So that total of $197,960 goes to $232,300, and in about a month they're going to $2,500 per autopsy. And we have no control over that price increase. It is what it is, and we have to pay it. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and make that correction for the mistake on our part for having that fee in there of $1,960. That's probably 3 years old or so data. So we collected 860,421 for the month, and then the miles that we drove and the maintenance cost, some in-services and training, community relation events. The non-emergency division did 416 calls, collected $120,815. And then the next few pages is kind of that, more detailed report of our call volume and volume by truck and by zip codes. And one thing we just figured this out today, we're gonna include this in it next month. The 83 times in the month of October, a unit other than the 4 units that are in the north end of the county, so units from Murfreesboro had to respond to that end of the county. So that doesn't mean they made 83 calls, but they went down there 83 times. And then the last page is kind of a unique call from one of our new stations out in Rockville of an MI that had a successful outcome. And that is my report.
Any questions on the report?
I had a comment. I know when we talked about the having the medical center here for the autopsies, I forget the name of it right up the top of my head. At any rate, I think you have reported that it was 2,300 previously.
I think I did report the increase, but on the report it says 1,960.
Yeah, I just kind of want to point that out because I remember that being reported.
Other comments? Commissioner Rather?
I didn't write a letter, but a month or so ago, my mother fell and broke 3 bones in her lower leg and ankle. She's now at Adam's place. Y'all don't know my mother. She is extremely hard to please, but she bragged for 2 days on the paramedics that showed up at her house and how they took care of her and hauled my dad to the hospital. And if you impress her that much, you've done a fantastic job. So on behalf of my family, thank you.
Thank you for that comment.
Can I dovetail on that? Because a deer hit my daughter this morning, hit her car, and I don't know if y'all heard it over the call in Laverne, but again, the EMS professionals and police and everything were very professional. They settled her down and took good care of her, so I want to commend as well.
Group out of Rockville is doing a great job. I went to the turkey shoot the other day, and a gentleman comes in, was talking about how the crew showed up at his house from the Rockville station. And he doesn't live all that far from the station, but he was talking how fast that they were there when they called. So the station out there is making a difference.
Making a huge difference. And it's also making a difference in Eagleville too, because it's keeping.
Eagleville and Kittrell area too. That one in Kittrell, they hadn't had one has ever had one. So we're seeing a lot of response that's coming out of this. Other discussion?
Well, now that you found this discrepancy on the autopsy paid fees on your report, I'm assuming that next month and moving forward, we'll have the right number in that place.
Yes, sir. And the fees for that actually doesn't come out of our budget. The mayor's office pays for that. We just report the cost. So I know they didn't overlook the fees of that. That was strictly on our part.
For the report, I move to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner James. Second, Commissioner Beverly. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Report has been approved.
One more thing, if I may. So Denise, our medical examiner supervisor, she sent me an email talking about where we are in our medical examiner's office, and it's a pretty good spot to be for an office as small as ours and as new as ours. But we just had 4 shift supervisors that completed the ABMDI course, certification test, all of that. And that's Wendy Lampley, Josh Wright, Joe Shannon, and Jana Petrie. So that gives us a total of 7 qualified death investigators. And I'm not going to do Denise justice with all the stuff that she gave me, but we are in a good place in our medical examiner's office. So hopefully, and the shift supervisors, it's not really, it's part of their job because that's just kind of where we are currently in it. Hopefully, selfishly on my part, it won't be part of their job much longer. Maybe it can become its own department. So, but I just wanted to give a shout out to those individuals for taking their time to go do that for where the medical examiner's office is going. Thank you.
We've come a long way, and it's looking better every day. And thank you so much, and thank you so much, Ms. Martin, for the efforts you put into that. All right, fire and rescue report.
Last month, Chairman Phillips asked me to bring some information about the fire tax across the state of Tennessee. I got to looking into that, and Shelby County has an extensive program that they do that, and I sent that to Chairman Phillips. But as I started looking into it, the Bradley County has one, and in several different counties. But I talked to CTASC, Mark Alley, who's a new CTASC director, come by my office and said he was doing a study on all the fire tax. And he said if you ever decide to do a fire tax, the way that Bradley County is set up is the way to do it. But anyway, I say all that to say that he's creating a report on all that. Because there's been so much interest in it from other counties and stuff. So once he presents that to me, I should have that for the next meeting. I will forward that on to y'all and make sure everybody has a copy of that. So I want to give you an update on that.
Chief Farley, I appreciate you doing that. Just so some folks would know, Shelby County, as an example, they charge by the square foot, and as the square footage goes up, the fee per square foot goes up. As an example, a 2,500 square foot house is $50 a square foot per year, or in essence, it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $600. Houses that are above that could be as high as $1,000 a year. But I think they charge per month. and they attach it to some utility bill or something like that.
Yeah, it comes through the utility department bills them for it. But in Shelby County, that covers fire and EMS. And then Lakewood is an adjacent city that they actually provide fire protection for Lakewood, but not EMS from what I understand. But like I say, Mark's he's gonna do a study on that, showing what each county does and what they do, and hopefully that'll be a better report what I could put together.
Let me just come to your rescue and to my rescue to say that we are not advocates of this. We're passing along, he's passing along, we're passing along information to you that the Budget Committee investigated the possibility of a fire tax last year, and we're going to present the Budget Committee with this information as they get into the budget preparation process this year.
Yes, by no means am I insinuating that we need a fire tax.
By no way am I insinuating the same thing. As a matter of fact, I'd probably stand up and vote against it. But to share that information, I appreciate you putting the work into that and look forward to the follow-up report. Thank you.
And we'll make note, this is between Chief Farley and Chairman Phillips out there.
I second.
I'm just gathering information. The month of October was very busy. We had 10 structure fires for the month of October. We had 361 medical calls and 77 MVAs for a monthly run of 717 calls. From January to October the 13th, we so far had 71 structure fires, 3,254 medical calls, 738 MVAs. 309 of those were with injuries, and 429 were without injuries, and had 26 extrications, for a total call volume of 6,361 calls. Including the volunteers, we've had 83 structure fires, 139 brush fires, and of course that's mainly due to the dry weather we've had and how everything has died out. We've had 91 illegal burns, and I'm assuming probably a lot of those were people who were just burning, but it's illegal because we had a ban on. 84 vehicle fires. We've had 1,172 MVAs countywide, 26 extrications, for a total call volume of 7,703 calls. The next documents what I send the codes. These are actually homes that were damaged by fire. We've had a lot of outbuildings, a lot of garages and self-standing buildings that were caught on fire and burnt because of people burning trash or burning outside, and it spread and caught those structures on fire. Our next document is our fire marshal's report. And as you can see, there's the classification of each fire. Our fire marshal did make an arrest. He arrested a juvenile for setting a fire to a home and also to a vehicle. We had 12 fire alarm installations for the month of October. And then we have our illegal burn report and those addresses, dates on those. I did receive a letter from the treasurer of Lascassas Volunteer Fire Department advising me that they would be dissolving their fire department on December 31st, 2023. So at that point, they'll close the doors, and we will continue to cover that area. And that completes my report, and I have one more thing after my report is approved.
James?
Is the burn ban still in effect?
No, sir, we lifted that I think it was Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Can you remind everybody on how to get a permit?
Just go to I think it's it's Tennessee State Forestry website. You can go online and get one online. It's tennesseeburn.org, I think. And or you can call the number and get one on the phone.
But either way, and you have to have those until May the 15th.
And then on the beginning of the topic, if you're not interested in creating a fire tax, I'm certainly not, and you're not. Why do we want to look at it realistically if nobody in the room wants it?
Mr. Chairman, are you sure you don't want to jump in?
Who was in this discussion?
Last year during the budget process, the week before the Budget Committee made the recommendation to the County Commission about the property tax rate, there were two recommendations for alternative taxes. One was a fire tax. The other was wheel tax. Wheel tax we have some experience with. Fire tax we do not have any experience with. So the 11th, I guess the 11th and a half hour was way too late to introduce those alternatives. So what we decided to do, or at least what I decided to do, was before we get into the budget process, that we have an understanding of what those taxes would look like. So we're going to discuss it at this committee as to what it might look like, pass that information on to the Budget Committee so that they would have that information available to them as they got into the budget process this next year. Does that make sense?
Well, it makes sense, and I remember that it just feels like a slippery slope to get once you get started, and I'm not interested in creating a new tax. So I just wanted to, I guess, be the voice of that, to say if we don't want it, why would we want to look at it? But I remember the budget meeting that came up, and I see where you're wanting to go with that.
If it comes back up in budget, they'll have the information that they need to make a decision and a recommendation. That recommendation, of course, would come before the full commission to make that decision. And once again, my opposition to something like this is that we would be taxing a group of individuals and excluding another group of individuals. So we would have more than one property tax rate. Plus, it's just like an ambulance service. It is a service that I think our residents deserve without additional tax. So whatever it would take for us to cover the cost of our fire department as we continue to build these fire stations. As a matter of fact, I went by Las Casas today. That building is quite impressive, especially on that piece of property. I digress, I'm sorry. But that property tax to me is, or that alternative to property tax to me is punitive, and it's not, I think, in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County as a whole. So I think it's our obligation to provide that service without additional taxation. So all we're doing is putting that information together, forwarding it to budget so that they'll have that information in case they come up with a discussion this year. It'll be up to the Budget Committee to decide what they want to recommend.
And I agree with what you're saying in your premise on the approach. I'm just weary on the idea of the concept of saying we're not going to take any more money out of your left pocket and start reaching into their right pocket. So that's my extra.
I think the purpose of the gathering information was just give the Budget Committee more knowledge on what they're talking about, which may decrease the favoritism for that discussion. But then that concludes my report, and I have one more request after you vote on this. More questions? Commissioner Rather?
Since 2018, there was a commissioner that typically would bring up the fire tax. Nothing ever happened. And now something is happening. You can't make a decision because somebody said, let's initiate a fire tax. You have to have the information, the stats, everything. And that's what we're doing is due diligence. but it's been brought up for years, probably long before I was around. So now we can look at it and make a decision. I wouldn't approve it anyway. It was hard enough to approve the property tax. I'm not for that at all, but we can say we did the research instead of some guy standing up saying we need to do a fire tax. Let's go through the motions so we can make an informed decision of no instead of a misinformed decision of no. That's the way I look at this. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the report?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved, and we have a second. In favor, say aye. Those opposed, your report has been approved, Chief.
You will recall, I informed y'all that at the end of October, I met with the Veterans Administration on Alvin C. York Hospital, and that they were wanting to terminate their contract with the Murfreesboro Fire Department and transfer to the county because their property is surrounded by the county. With that being said, we don't have a ladder truck to be able to adequately service that community. And of course, as time goes on, we're going to need at least 2 ladder trucks on each side of the county. But I'm requesting your permission to apply for an Assistance to Firefighters grant for $2 million to purchase a ladder truck. We need this ladder truck to cover the hospital, and I think that if we get a $2 million ladder truck, the county it would cost the county 10% of that, which would be $200,000. Would be the difference. Asking your permission to request to apply for that grant.
What's the details of it? I don't have it here to go in. Like, is there matching? Is there stipulations for a number of years in service?
10% match. They pay 80%, or they pay 90%, and we have to pay $200,000. If it's a $2 million truck, then 10% of that would be $200,000, what it would cost the county. If we had to buy it ourselves, it'd be $2 million.
Do you have that 10% in your current budget without adding to it, or could?
That's why I'm asking permission to apply for the grant.
I'm not asking for.
That's why I'm asking permission to apply for the grant, because it has a match to it, and I don't have that. I don't have it in my budget. If it's passed and we get the grant, then that would be appropriated next budget year. But if we get it, but if we don't get it, it doesn't cost us anything.
What's the deadline on the grant?
It's got to be approved by Public Safety tonight and budget next week, and then for the full commission in order to be able to meet the deadline. By the time I think by the time I go through Public Safety tonight and then budget next week into the full commission, we'll have just enough time to apply for the grant. Yeah.
Is that for one truck or 2?
One ladder truck.
2 million. And we get a $2 million vehicle and we have to pay $200,000. All right.
If I'm understanding you correctly, you just want to apply. We can reevaluate taking the grant if we
now,
have questions later.
Let me be clear. Once I apply for this and we do receive it, then I will have to come back before y'all and budget to get approval to accept the grant.
Just taking your shot and see what you catch.
I mean, just because we apply for it, y'all can still deny it.
We need to understand, on our trucks right now, and you correct me, Chief, our ladders only go to 26 feet. Now, 22 to 26, in that area. We now have houses built at 30 feet, or better, to the gutter. A lot of them are built on hills, which cause other problems. So we've been needing this for a while. We also are building schools that are 2-story. 2-story. We do not have a ladder truck. If we need a ladder truck, we have to call the city of Murfreesboro and request a ladder truck. So we've been needing a ladder truck for a very long time. Now we've gotten into this contract with the Veterans Administration out there, which they seem to require. This gives us an opportunity, and this contract means a little bit, I think, financially too, doesn't it? Pardon? Does it mean this contract with the veterans?
I mean, if something was to happen out there,
We'd have to have it to participate. So this is something that gives us an opportunity. So this is just where we are with this right now. We're a county that's growing this way. Houses are no longer ranch houses. They're not one level. They're going up. So this is where we are. So that's my opinion. Now, I won't do you like the radio station. That's my opinion. It ought to be yours. But I'm not going to say that. But I'm just telling you where we are.
also, part of one of the first questions on the grant, do you cover a federal facility? And we'll be able to check the yes box on it because we're covering a federal hospital. So that ups our chances of getting the grant.
I'm all for a 90% discount, so I'd make a motion to approve.
Motion approved. Motion second. Further discussion. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Commissioner Beverly,
Yes.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. All right, item 9, Sheriff's Officer's Report. Chief Spence.
Good evening. This afternoon, our population in the jail was 859 inmates. Members of our stop unit participated in 2 drug take-backs campaign, October 27th and 28th. On the 27th, they've collected 348 pounds of prescription meds at Murfreesboro Medical Clinic. And on the 28th, they collected 30 pounds from Stonecrest campaign. Our openings at the Sheriff's Office, Communications has 6 openings. We have 4 applicants in the background stage. SROs have 10 openings. Detention has 39 positions open. 4 new deputies started today. Patrol has 24 positions open. We have 7 in the background stage with them. That's in my report.
Commissioners, you've seen the report and heard what the chief has to say. Any questions on his report?
Chief Spence, I have a question. When you say there's 10 SROs, exactly, can you explain what that means? Say there's 10 openings?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, but every school is covered, correct?
Yes, sir, they're correct.
Okay, thank you.
Follow-up question, please. So you say every school is open, but you're getting 10 additional. Is that what you're saying, sir?
We still have 10 positions that have been filled that we received this year's budget, but all the schools are covered by SROs.
Gotcha. Do you have applicants in place or any kind of process?
Yes, ma'am. I don't know that number right now, but we do have it open and have some applicants.
Move to approve the report.
Commissioner James moves
Second.
to approve. Have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Report has been approved. I believe you have a budget amendment.
Yes, sir. This amendment is to provide additional funds for overtime needed for employees covering vacant positions in detention and to provide funds for food service preparation supplies. Requesting $503,000 from guard salaries, placing $500,000 into the overtime line item and $3,000 into the food preparation supplies.
Move to approve.
Move to approve. Commissioner James, second. Commissioner Oliver. Further discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner McMurray,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner James,
Yes.
Commissioner Rather,
Yes.
Commissioner Oliver,
Aye.
Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Chief Spence?
Yes, sir.
I have a quick question. Something totally different. It was kind of brought to my attention, maybe you can elaborate more on it, in regards to the Mounted Patrol Division.
Yes, sir.
I was made aware, is it going to be dissolved towards the end of the year? And if that's the case, what do we gain by taking it away, and what do we lose Well, pretty much what do we gain by taking it away?
Yes, sir, that is correct. The horses we currently have are at the age to be retired. I'm planning on taking that to purchasing in January. We're unable to find a place. If we got more horses, there's no places out there to have a barn. We currently have just a small barn, and it's not suitable to have horses, so we decided to do away with it.
Okay. So is our Mounted Patrol Division the only division within our county, or does the city of Murfreesboro have them, or, Laverne, Smyrna, do they have those as well? Or?
No, sir. But if it came down to needing horses for rallies or certain events, we've got good relationships with Wilson County, Davidson County, and other counties that will provide that to us if we need it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sheriff?
More explanation on that. We're down to 4 horses, but 1 kicks. We can't use it around children and things, so we're having to take that back to the owner that donated it. 2 of the horses are 17 years of age that we can't use them anymore. They have to retire. That leaves us with 1 horse. The other problem we've got, we use Percherons, which we can't find that type horse. If we try to switch to any other type of horse, none of our equipment will fit it, so it's going to cost thousands of dollars to buy the outfitting for those types of horses. The other thing that we've got is we've been searching for about 3.5 to 4 years now for a place to house the horses. We cannot find that. Nobody's willing to do that anymore. So basically, we don't have a place other than in the open for these horses. So basically, after this year, we're going to be down to 1 horse. And it's the advent of drones, which we use now, which have FLIR and everything, gives us the advantage that we didn't have before. So new technology has brought us to a point where basically it's an obsolescence. If we need horses, we call on Metro, and they send their horses down here to us. And we've used them in the past on the square.
Thank you for the explanation. Appreciate it.
One quick question, Mr. Chairman, if you would, please. Property management meets Thursday night at 5:30, but before their meeting, they're going to be touring the jail at 3:30, if I'm not mistaken. So it might be an opportunity for any commissioner that would like to tour the jail to participate in that. I believe it's at 3:30 at the jail. So once again, if you're interested in touring the jail, it'd be a good time to do it.
Other discussion? Already. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Donnie. Let me say also on the Mounted Patrol, and I think the sheriff knows this too, I've supported the Mounted Patrol for several years and helped with them and this sort of thing, but you need to understand, we've always been in good partnerships with Davidson County and Wilson County and those that whenever we needed help, we swapped out back and forth. So it's good that we have those close at hand. I know when they were looking for other horses, we looked all over this country. I think we even went up to New York and this sort of thing trying to find those type of horses. And you just can't find those because they're trained to do what they do. You just can't bring a horse into a crowd like this and expect it to perform that way because they have to know people, they have to know how to do that and what they do. And their job is to push, not to harm. And it takes special horses. And these horses are reaching that age, and it's hard to find those. There's not many departments that still do this. So I know there's a lot in the department. It does hurt to see that we don't have those anymore, but it's just something that if you know the equipment that's on these horses, it is very expensive. And we just can't keep replacing this. But if we do have it available to us just a few miles up the road to bring them in, I think it's a good thing for us. Appreciate what y'all done there. PAWS. Go from the large animals now to to the smaller animals, I guess. All right, Mr. Fitz, we go in here, Michael Gregory.
Good evening. For the month of October, we had 443 animals come into the shelter. We had a 3.2% euthanasia rate. Our live release rate for dogs was 95.2%. Cats were 93.5%. And when wildlife were included, it was a 93.5%. We had 200 animals that went through our surgery program for the month. Our officers completed out 1,373 calls, traveling 8,442 miles. Fiscal year to date, we've had 1,682 animals since July 1. Our live release rate is 91.8%. Officers completed out 5,131 calls, traveling 35,237 miles. Our rabies exposure and bite report, that goes by calendar year. You can see that we had 47 bites for October. 2 of those were sent for testing. Neither came back positive. And we had 2 other exposures. None of those were sent for testing for that month. Last page of the report is just the visual graph that I give you showing the outcomes of live release versus euthanasia and other outcomes. Our report, sir.
Okay. Questions on the report?
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, Commissioner Rather. Add a second, Commissioner Oliver. Further discussion? Not all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Does pass. OSHA? Ed Elam. Evening, sir.
Good evening. For the month of October 2023, a number of incidences, you have 24. The total year to date is 201. OSHA log summary, total recordable 142. Lost days 28. Number of lost days 420. Restricted day claims 88. Other recordables 26. On the job claims for 2023, 201, and I will go back to have for the last couple of meetings, go back to 2019, which was pre-pandemic, epidemic times. It's for 2019 was 2024. There was 224 compared to 201 for 2023. On the job injury incurred dollars, you have 601,000. And for the last page, cause of injuries, Board of Education, of the 24 you had, Board of Education had 17, County General was 7, Sheriff's Office was 7 for the total for. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Questions on the report? Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any other questions? In favor, say aye. Those opposed, say no. It is approved. I believe, Mr. James.
And if I may mention something.
Yes, sir.
This past month, I had a teacher that's very near and dear to me personally have a work-related injury, although minor, and came out great. I was able to watch firsthand the policies and procedures that are put in place. So I guess this would qualify as a shout-out. But I would like to thank you, your department, thank the other departments, Board of Education, for their policies and procedures in handling the situations. Seeing it firsthand, foremost from this versus in my day job at corporate America, it's a clear night and day, and you really they run through quick. You can see it's a well-knit, well-oiled machine, family atmosphere to take care of each other. So for me, it'd be a shout out to Mr. Wayne at Rock Springs Middle, Board of Education, and your department. So I want to make sure I said that to you tonight.
Well, thank you. We all, as a team, work together, and that's what it takes to make things work correctly. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Item 12, Recovery Court. Director Lachelle Ricks, good evening.
Good evening. The Recovery Court report for October 2023, we have a total of 192 current participants. Broken down, that is, in our drug court, we have 50 people in our program, 17 people who have been assessed and are pending court dates, and 20 people who are somewhere in our application process. In our DUI court, we have 33 in our day program and 43 in our evening program, 5 people who are pending court dates, and 30 people who are on the waiting list. In our mental health court, we have 53 total participants, 22 who are pending, who have been assessed and are pending court dates, 30 who are somewhere in the application process. And in our Veterans Court, we have a total of 13 people in the program and 13 people in the application process. We've had a total of 5 terminations and 3 successful discharges for this month. And that concludes our report.
All right, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Have a second. All those in favor say aye. It has been approved.
And I just want to point out that our next graduation is coming up on this Wednesday, November 29th at 10:30, and it will be in the jury room at the courthouse.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other business? Just a reminder, Commissioners, that this Friday night at 6:00 p.m. is the 2023 awards ceremony for the Rutherford County Fire and Rescue out at New Vision. If you've never been, you ought to go see this because it's pretty impressive in what they do and the awards program that we have there to see and to recognize these firefighters and rescue groups. If there's no other Mr. Chairman.
It's been brought to my attention and probably others here that we have a Sheriff's Department, a deputy at full commission meetings and at some other meetings, but not at our committee meetings. And I was asked to bring that up. Is it something we want to pursue or not? And I'm going to leave it up to the chairman to do whatever he feels like he needs to do with that.
We can usually at this meeting right here, we do usually have the sheriff and the chief here. That's pretty strong. I think that would be pretty good for us. But there are other committees that I think that I could see where it would be important that we do have somebody that would be pretty advisable. I know sometimes it's steering, things of these types that, it's necessary there. But we can make the request.
If you want to turn it over to me, I'll talk to the sheriff.
Let's do that. Let's just make a request and see where we are there and see what we can do.
Consider it done.
All right. Anything else? If not, we're adjourned.